Well, hey there, this is Zeke, and I'm out in my workshop, and I got a response to one of my videos that, well, it warrants a video response because I'm limited to 500 characters to respond to this fella, or person, and they call themselves Zekebush. I'm going to read you their response, but first, you should know that it's a response to one of my videos called Zeke is confronted by another angry person. And he wrote, or Zekebush wrote, Zeke, the U.S., and I'm reading this verbatim, so don't blame me for the grammar errors. Zeke, the USA have had socialist policies way before Obama stepped on the scene. My question for you is, why didn't you have the same sticker on your bumper when G.W. Bush was in office? No question mark. In fact, every president since Roosevelt have been socialist. Furthermore, if it wasn't for FDR, you would be working in some deplorable slave condition while you corporate master cracks his whip. Don't let money rule you. And in place of an exclamation point, there's a 1. Okay. So Zekebush makes a valid point. Where was I during George W. Bush presidency, or the George W. Bush presidency? Well, to be honest with you, I was still serving in the military, and so I was very much prohibited about what I could say publicly about what a president was doing. In addition to that, I was serving overseas, and so I was pretty much detached from what was going on in my own country. Even though we still had the internet, I'll be honest with you, I really wasn't plugged in, like a lot of people who actually live in America. And now that I'm back in America, and I don't really recognize the country that I came back to as being remotely similar to the country that I left back in the early 80s when I started serving in the military. But your point about George W. Bush is valid. It's the only point in your response or your reply to my video that is valid. George W. Bush, President George W. Bush, brought us the prescription drug program, which is yet another large, well, massive socialist program. He also implemented No Child Left Behind, which was unfunded, which was a federal attempt, like many other federal attempts, to fix our education system. And, well, the truth is, our education system can't be fixed from a federal level. It has to be fixed from a very local level. Our teachers have to be empowered and encouraged to fix the system from the ground up. And, well, to be honest with you, I'd like to see the Federal Department of Education disbanded, dissolved, removed, ended, because, well, it's done nothing but cause problems in our education system since it was created. And President Bush also gave us the Department of Homeland Security, which trampled all over the Constitution. And when it first happened, like I said, I was serving overseas, and I was kind of out of touch. And I didn't really think it was so much a bad idea as I do now. Because now I'm actually seeing the kind of power the Department of Homeland Security has asserted. And, well, it's yet another disaster. Every time the federal government creates a new department, well, it generally turns out to be a disaster. Because the way America is supposed to work is, the individual pretty much governs themselves, and they need a little bit of help here and there from government, but the help should come from the most local government possible. And our Constitution was designed to keep the federal government in check. But you're right, Zekebush, the federal government has been trampling all over the Constitution for decades. And well, there are other words that you could use for it, but will be polite today and not use those words. However, I would say that it started way before FDR, like you assert. FDR, like President Obama, asserted far more authority over the country than he actually had, like President Obama is doing, and like pretty much every president we've had in between. But this started way back in the 1800s, and they're getting away with it because far too few of us actually understand the purpose of the federal government. And then you said if it wasn't for FDR, you would be working in some deplorable slave condition while you corporate master cracks his whip. I don't think so. See, this is coming from a leftist. Yeah, that's right, Zekebush, you're a leftist. Actually, you believe socialism is a good thing. But if you look at the history of this country, America's greatest wars have always been fought against things like socialism and communism, Marxism, because it never works. It might work for a little while, but it always goes south because individual people have individual wants and desires and needs, and the government can never fulfill them. So when people want their desires and needs and aspirations met, and the government doesn't want to meet them, well, then the people get a little uppity about it. And then the result is always the same. It has always been the same from every totalitarian sort of government. They start killing those people. And they do it for two reasons. They want to shut them up, and they want to shut up everybody else who might think about speaking out. The power is not in money, Zekebush. The power is with the people. And you really should wake up to that fact. And the reason I didn't have, well, yet another reason why I didn't have a Bush or a sticker like I have right now with President Bush is because President Bush didn't have a logo. But, you know, all things being equal, that's where I stand on it. I hope this is a satisfactory response to your questions. Have a great day.